to tonight's edition of Goodnight Dakota. We are your news anchors, Brianna Helbling
and Ellingson. Tonight we have a special edition for you of the Looking Back series, in which we will be analyzing the depth of the Holocaust. More importantly, looking into what the Jews had to go through during the Holocaust.
One question that is often asked in relation to the Holocaust is, why were the Jews targeted over other cultures? We still, to this day, don't know a 100% correct answer, but there are many theories on why Adolf Hitler would target this group of people.
The beginning of all this is when Hitler wrote his book titled Mein Kampf. It was devoted to explaining the hatred towards the Jews, but the answer still remains very unclear.
Germany blamed the Jews for the economic crisis that they were suffering, as well as their defeat in World War I. According to Hitler, the Jewish people are responsible for Germany's many problems.
Many people believed Hitler as he conducted his murderous campaign about the Jews. The result was that 6 million Jews lost their lives, their families, and their dignity during the Holocaust.
Hitler's initial solution was to get rid of as many Jews from society that he could by imprisoning them in concentration camps throughout Eastern Europe. Concentration camps were the integral feature of the regimen in Nazi Germany between 1933 and 1945, which were the years of the Holocaust. Aside from just concentration camps, there were also a great deal of extermination camps, which was the camp that was meant to exterminate as many Jews and other cultures as possible.
The first camp in Germany was founded in 1933, but the main camp, which faced an incredible amount of devastation, was Auschwitz, which was an extermination camp. In Auschwitz, many Jews were gassed to death in gas chambers, burnt to death in human-sized ovens, deprived of food and water, which led to many dying of starvation. Some were even put to death with medical experiments. And that is only a few of the many, many horrendous executions of the Jews.
You will now see a clip from the Guardian News on the deadly Auschwitz camp. Viewer discretion is advised. Blows my mind. Isn't that just heart-wrenching?
It is. I couldn't even imagine.
Although we mostly hear about the hard times at the different types of camps, the heartbreak for Jews and their families started beyond the first camp in 1933, when Germans began by burning books of Jews, random attacks on their property, government stopped protecting the Jews, and they had to wear a symbol anytime they would go out in public.
Jews were banned from many public entities, including parks, restaurants, swimming pools, and they weren't even allowed to travel abroad. The places they were allowed to go, they were required to wear a yellow Star of David with Jew written on it. To them, there was no escaping. We'll be right back to talk more about historical events during the Holocaust after this short break.
My name is Scotty McDade. I feel And doggone thrifty too, Muck.
And it seals without moistening.
Now, folks, look what you can do with Scotch cellophane tape.
You can seal things with it like sandwich wrappers. Scotch cellophane tape holds things in place like snapshots in albums. Because it's practically invisible, it's great for mending things like torn sheet music. So insist on Scotch Brand, America's #1 cellophane tape. Don't accept substitutes. Look for the word Scotch and the plaid design.
The tape with the plaid is the best to be had, so stick with Scotch, my friend.
Get Scotch Brand cellophane tape. Made only by Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing, the 3M Company.
Some may begin to wonder, how does America play a role in the devastating Holocaust of the 1930s? Liberation was the main thing that America helped to end the slaughter of millions.
As Allied troops moved across Europe against Nazi Germany, they started to encounter thousands upon thousands of concentration camp prisoners. These prisoners were suffering from starvation and disease.
Soviet forces were the first to approach a major Nazi camp in July of 1944. Due to the lack of technology, Americans were only later informed of the devastation going on a half of a world away. Once Americans found out, they knew they had to take charge.
Surprised by the rapid Soviet advance, Germans tried to hide evidence of mass murder by demolition of the camp. Camp staff set fire to the large crematorium used to burn bodies of murdered prisoners, but they left the gas chamber standing. Germans dismantled these camps in 1933, after most of the Jews of Poland were already exterminated.
Between the Americans, the Soviets, and the British, liberation at last began in January of 1945, almost 11 years after Hitler took reign. The Soviets alone found over 6,000 emancipated prisoners alive when they entered into the camp. We'll be right back after this short break.
From the research laboratories of Papermate, the world's most popular pen, after every kind of test for precision, tests for performance, tests for durability, Papermate brings you the pen of your lifetime, the new Papermate Capri. This handsome new Papermate Capri is jewelry finished for distinctive beauty, and it's made to last. Built for a lifetime, unconditionally guaranteed not to chip or crack. You'll find, too, that the new Papermate Capri writes the way you write, fine, medium, or broad, without changing points. The new Papermate Capri, with this exclusive silver tip, gives you the world's easiest writing, and yet so sensibly priced at only $2.95. New Capri refills are only 49 cents. Buy the new Papermate Capri. Wherever pens are sold, it's truly the pen of your lifetime.
The U.S. forces liberated Buchenwald on April 11, 1945, only a couple days after the Nazis began to evacuate the concentration camp. Just at that camp alone, they liberated more than 20,000 prisoners.
Among more Allied forces that were involved with the liberation of the camps were the British forces. They liberated camps in northern Germany in mid-April of 1945. Some 60,000 prisoners in critical condition because of the typhus epidemic were found alive. 10,000 of them died from the effects of malnutrition within a few weeks of being liberated.
Liberators confronted horrendous conditions in the Nazi camps. There were piles of bodies laying unburied. Only after the liberation of these camps was the full scope of Nazi horrors exposed to the rest of the world. The small percentage of inmates who survived resembled skeletons because of the demands of forced labor, lack of food, and years upon years of maltreatment. Many were so weak they could hardly move.
Disease remained an ever-present danger, and so many of the camps had to be burned down due to the spread of the epidemic. Survivors of the camps faced a long and difficult road to recovery. Here is an interview that our producer, Jeff Overton, took of Hilbert Marvel relating to American liberation of camps.
My twin brother heard that, came over to me, and he said, The odor to him reminds him when we were young children, our mother would go to the meat market and buy a freshly killed chicken, take it home, hold the chicken over the gas flame of the stove in the kitchen to burn off what they call the pin feathers that were stuck in the chicken. In doing so, it would burn some of the skin and the fat of the chicken and give off, he said, the same odor. What we saw inside the boxcars were dead bodies, just lying different positions, some on top of one another, but they were all dead. They didn't have food to eat. The weather was cold, wintertime, so they were gone.
Explaining every written detail on the Holocaust is close to impossible, but our team here at Goodnight Dakota felt that it was important to talk about this topic to try and inform people more about one of the most horrific mass murders in the world's history.
For more information, you can visit our website at goodnightdakota.org and click on the Looking Back Series tab. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's episode edition on the heartbreaking Holocaust, on the life of Jews during that time period and the liberation of the camps.
We will see you all tomorrow night on Good Night Dakota.
We are your news anchors, Brianna Helbling
and Sierra Ellingson. Tonight we'll have a special edition.
I was lost when you started talking.